You're listening to the Favorite Self podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Luce, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the LDM radio today. I'm your host, Alyssa Luce, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We are continuing our series on the principles and values you need in place to transform into your favorite self. Today's episode is all about values. Values are a level of importance or worth or usefulness of something. They can also be principles or standards of behavior. Now, why are values important when you want to become your favorite self? Well, the main reason is your values control how you make decisions. And when I say control, it's more like it influences how you make decisions. And if you're not aware of your values, then it controls how you make your decisions. There's a saying that goes, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And of course, you can look at society and pick out values that are quote unquote favorable by the majority. However, values simply help you to determine the type of person you want to be remembered as. In reality, values don't have a right or wrong. There isn't a good or bad value, but every value you hold on to and you believe in will impact the way you think, the way you make decisions, the type of experiences you have throughout your life, and ultimately determines the kind of person you become. So when you look at different people and you pass judgment on if they're a good or bad person, it's not the person overall, but it's probably the set of values that they hold in that current moment that's influencing them to be who they currently are. And the reason I'm stating it in this way is because your values are constantly changing. There are some that are rooted deep within your subconscious, right? Like they've been passed down generation to generation. They've been embedded in you ever since you were a child, by society, by your parents, by whoever brought you up to the person you are today. And you make decisions based on these values because you want to be accepted by these individuals who had an impact on your development. And you want to seem like a favorable and pleasing person. And you want to fit in, inevitably. Like, we need other people. So, of course, it's human nature to please and feel safe when we are accepted by others. But a lot of the times, the values people hold and prioritize can limit their potential and ultimately block them from living a life that they're genuinely proud of and that they truly love. Some of the values I used to hold were the importance of being a favorable friend, right? Like loyalty and like friendship. I found friendship very important. Relationships are something that are very important to me personally, whether they're friendships or family relationships or even business relationships. Now, some people do have these relationships in an order of importance, right? Some people may put their spouse above everyone. Some people may put their children or their parents above everyone. But the way I see relationships are all relationships are extremely valuable. And I personally don't think there's a relationship I hold with another person that's better than another, but the one relationship that is superior to all my relationships is the relationship between myself and the higher powers that be. Whether or not you want to call this your higher self, you want to call it God, you want to call it the universe, Allah, Buddha, whatever title, identity you conform to and feel comfortable using is fine. It's all the same thing, just different languages, different vocabulary words. As long as you understand that this is the source of everything, and this is the power that you hold within yourself as well, right? Another value I hold very near and dear to my heart is the importance of health. Now, I feel like this is a morally accepted value, not just accepted, but like sought after value. Like everyone wants good health. However, it's not a value that is maintained. Oftentimes, there's values that counteract or directly oppose values that we have. And then we're trying to, figure out why we have this inner conflict and confusion of why we aren't getting what we want, right? If the ultimate goal is to have health, yet you're taking medication or you've been diagnosed with an illness or so many different factors that we deal with nowadays. There's a deeper value that's overpowering the value that you want to inevitably have the life that you deserve. Okay, example time. Let's say my value is to have good health. However, a higher value that I have is to be a people pleaser. And the friends that I seek to spend time with are heavy drinkers. So I feel obligated to go out with them and have a good time with them every time they invite me. And they invite me quite frequently. We have a really great relationship. I love my friends. And the only way I'm having a good time with them is if I'm drinking a lot, frequently. This opposes your value to have good health. And it may not catch up with you immediately, right? People will drink for years and be fine. But the moment that they no longer believe that health is important, or the moment that they believe good health is difficult to maintain, that value, it just becomes embedded in who they are as a person, because they've been making that decision for so long. And a lot of times, we don't even know what values are important to us. One of the ways I discovered what values were important to me was through meditation. And also asking myself deliberate questions like, what are my values? What do I think is important? What do I want to be remembered for? There's a book. It's a really great book. I highly endorse and recommend everyone read it. It's called, I believe, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, something of that nature. The author is Stephen Covey, I believe. And he's written many versions of this book, I believe, because it was just that good. So there's like a version for kids, for the original version. I prefer the original version. There's even workbooks, whatever. And he does an exercise. And this exercise I've done many times because it was very compelling and it really inspired me to really understand what my values were. And at this time, I was recognizing another value of mine was the importance of educating myself and pursuing excellence and investing in myself, right? Constantly growing and learning new things. This is a value I hold very near and dear to my heart. And the exercise he explained was for you to envision yourself going to a funeral and actually, feel like you're at a funeral and you don't know whose funeral it is. You just know, it's a person you love. And, you see other people that also knew this person. And everyone's just kind of, mourning their loss. And you get to the casket, you look in the casket, and it's you. And then you sit down and you listen to, like, when they give the speeches, like of people that lose their family members, like usually, they'll say a couple words out of respect and to honor them. And you listen to words from a close friend, from a family member, from a colleague, and then from a person in your community. And you consider, what are the things you want them to say about you when you die? What do you want to be remembered for? What is the impact you want to have on other people? How do you want to make other people feel? How do you want to leave your legacy? Because at the end of the day, we're all leaving a legacy. Whether or not you think your legacy is impactful on a grand scale, or if it's just the people that you grow up with and live with and see on a regular basis in your neighborhood, someone's going to remember you. And whether or not they remember you for something quote unquote good or bad is all determined by what values you hold near and dear to your heart. What are the values that you strive to achieve on a daily, consistent basis? So I challenge you to take the time to read that book, because it's a great book, but take part in that exercise. I actually have a few similar exercises written down to help people identify what values they want. It's a PDF download. It's completely free. If you would like that download, you could send me an email to faveselfpod@gmail.com, and I'll send you the document. Make sure you put the subject as value document. Okay, value document. Email is faveselfpod@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you completely free, no obligation necessary. And take this seriously and watch how it will transform your life. All right, I believe in you. I love you. I appreciate you for spending time with me today, and I'll be sharing some more important principles and values in the next couple of episodes of this first season. And I appreciate you once again for being here and supporting me.